Is Dutch being replaced? No, but seriously. I don't know. Let's have a look. I hope not.
Hallo.
Alleen een,
Hallo.
alleen een latte macchiato met havermelk, alsjeblieft.
Sorry, can you repeat it?
Okay, English?
Oh no.
I saw an ad for a university the other day. In it, several staff members rave about how easy it is to live and work in the Netherlands without knowing the local language. Oh, I can study and research in English. I can other things in English. I can phone the utilities company and the tax office in English. I get the appeal. It's convenient. But as a YouTuber who bangs on about language threat and power dynamics, that got me thinking, is Dutch itself under any threat? Now, hear me out. Obviously, it's a very healthy national language, yes, but at the same time, the fact remains that the Dutch people are some of the best and most comfortable English speakers there are.
I'm going to say Dutch people are impressive when it comes to their fluency and overall accent and language abilities, particularly in English. I have to say that. That's absolutely true. Like compared to us Southern Europeans, like we haven't got a clue. Northern Europeans usually tend to be really good. So I think the best speakers in Europe of second language acquisition L2 when it comes to English and sounding as natural and organic as possible, probably, Dutch and Nordics. Because everyone else, Italians, French, Spanish, Germans, you could tell a mile away. I wonder why. I wonder what it is.
On the most extreme end of things, I've heard personal anecdotes about Dutch people raising the kids in English. Sadly, as a Hong Konger, that doesn't even surprise me anymore. Now, that story is most definitely far from the norm, but the Dutch Language Union does foresee the Dutch language eventually becoming a language spoken in the house with the family, having lost its place in the worlds of work, money, science, and technology. Not on a short term for sure, but there is a tendency towards diminishing spaces for the Dutch language, all because Dutch people are too nice. Welcome to Rhapsody in Lingo. My name is Israel and I have experienced learning many wildly different languages. And despite what people say about linguistic similarity, I would actually rank Dutch as one of the hardest languages. Shocker, I know. It's on every list of easiest languages to learn.
He must have been brought up bilingual because he sounds really good when he speaks English. And I've heard several people, I mean, Hong Kong, then again, I imagine due to the fact that it was former British colony, probably there are more English speakers there as opposed to mainland China. That's what I would expect, as opposed to People's Republic of China. With that being said, though, he sounds really good. So I wonder what other languages he speaks. And if this is a level he has attained without special bilingual upbringing skill, then impressive.
For English speakers. But to me, the deciding factor is not grammar or vocabulary, but rather the one thing that Dutch people are infamous for, speaking English to you. Because they're so good at it, some might even say better than natives. When they interact with foreigners, the path of least resistance always is switching to English.
Well, that is a massive problem for people that are trying to practice a language but still haven't reached fluency. Like I remember, personally, I didn't have to deal with that too much when I was in Japan and was trying to pick up Japanese because a lot of people only spoke Japanese. But it did happen occasionally that there was someone who was fluent in English and it became a common language, even though it's my second language. And obviously, I speak it fluently. So it became the path of least resistance. But it didn't happen very much. The few times it did happen, though, it was hindering progress, of course, because then you're put in a position where, well, yeah, but it would have been much better for me to struggle and still practice using Japanese at the time than having to resort to English because I already reached the fluency I wanted. Well, I did eventually become fluent in Japanese too, but that was because they didn't have many situations like the one he's describing. I have to imagine that I was about to say Dutchland, yeah, that's Deutschland. In Holland, that must be a problem. That must be indeed a problem. Do they speak better English than native speakers? Probably not, unless like you compare a very highly educated Dutch person who speaks English fluently to a complete uneducated clown.
That in itself constitutes the first barrier towards promoting the Dutch language. Migrants struggle to practice the language in their everyday lives. And you need to practice to get good, but if you're not good enough, it's difficult to practice.
Totally.
It's like work experience. I don't think anyone would disagree with me that this trait is
true. He's
so
good.
This video will entertain the question of whether this could potentially lead to the demise of the language.
And because I haven't lived in the Netherlands, I'll speak to two friends of mine who have moved there.
Doi siema i'r iseldiroedd i wneud masters
Ieithyddiaeth Indo-Ewropeig nes I tro yma.
This is Callie, my
Callie.
Welsh friend in the Netherlands.
Yn pa iaith nes di astudio yn Leiden?
Wel, y cwrs angen rheidol I gyd yn Saesneg, ond wedyn oeddet ti'n gallu dewis gwneud rhywbeth trwy gyfrwng yr iaith.
And we'll chat about their first-hand experience and maybe struggles.
We'll look at the question from different perspectives, from the social to the linguistic. And if you like deep dive analyses of unexpected questions,
Guys, everyone subscribe to him. Rhapsody in Lingo, the best content.
yep.
Very
Thank you, man.
cute. Oh, very cute. See, even the child spoke English.
The area where the impact is most evident is, as you might expect, customer service,
Yeah.
especially in touristy areas. I've been to cafes and restaurants in touristy areas in Amsterdam, less touristy areas, and also here in the lesser known
looks
city, Arnhem. Oh, so that's the station I've heard so much about.
Whoa.
Well, to be fair, my experience might not be the most representative because I look like this and am statistically more likely to be a visitor. But I sat and observed what languages people spoke, which is what I normally do anyway. And it's true, the more touristy an area is, the more likely the staff workers are to open in English. It's not just my experience either, because I've heard other people say that workers wouldn't even hesitate to go to English right away just to make things easier.
Yeah, no, I can see that. 100%.
When I went to a restaurant of a minority culture here in Arnhem, the default language was also English, as you might expect. People always go for the path of least resistance.
The big city is where it's the hardest, says Seen, my Hong Kong friend in Amsterdam. People are busy at minding their own business, so if you struggle to speak Dutch to them, it's like you're getting in their way or putting a burden on them to help you learn. Whatever the language, they'd rather just get it over with.
Would it be a burden? Well, I'm not sure, actually. In my experience, the very few Dutch people that I've met were always very nice. But I don't know, if you look at this, like if you're in a busy city, of course, the way people interact with you might be different and compare like average people in Tennessee to average people in New York. Big cities are busy, people don't have time. It's different from like slower areas, I suppose. It's the same everywhere. South and north of Italy is another example of that. But I don't know, would they consider it a burden? Maybe it's just someone who struggle. Maybe that's what it is.
Ie, maen nhw'n meddwl beth ti'n neud pan wyt ti'n boddran. Di o ddim fel mynd I Ffrainc neu Rydol. Os wyt ti yn mynd mewn I siop a ti ddim yn siarad Iseldireg yn rhugl a ti'n trio, fydden nhw'n edrych arno chdi fel... Dwi'n meddwl bod chdi'n gallu pechu pobl. Mae pobl yn meddwl... Ti'n gwybod, dwi'n siarad Saesneg, beth sy'n bod yn...
Gallu swnio'n tipyn bach yn patronize.
I mean, they both speak it though. Obviously, she speaks it very well because I imagine, I don't know, you tell me, because she lives here. But he said he's not living here, so I imagine he's just visiting. And he seems to be able to communicate with her nicely.
Nou,
Ie.
lwyd,
Ie.
os ti'n trio siarad eich iaith nhw. Dank je wel. Which might seem obvious to you, but think about the implications. I've had discussions in the comment section of my Wales video talking about switching languages, and it might be difficult to switch out of the common language even if you speak the other language better. Because for one, from my own experience as a polyglot, I can tell you very certainly that...
Careful with that word, mate, because I like you so far, but I freaking hate the word polyglot. Oh, I hate the word polyglot, but this guy seems real, because the moment I hear polyglot, I'm immediately thinking, oh my gosh, it's one of those who claims to speak 30, and then he only knows a couple of words per language. He doesn't strike me to be that kind, though, and I'm usually pretty good with my fake polyglot frauds radar. Israel Lai, Discovering Myself Through Discovering the World, a channel about language and the people that use them, videos documenting my multilingual life and advocating for linguistic diversity and equality. Language and Linguistics podcast, okay, with transcript available on Patreon. No, that doesn't look too bad. So I'll give him he's just using polyglot just to mean that he's multilingual, not in the, what has now become within the meme that has now become the language, within the language sphere. I'll give you a pass.
Switching languages is not easy. There is a brain thing that you have to do and to flip the switch from one to another.
Yeah.
It's like going into a different zone altogether.
True, yeah, it needs to be trained.
And more importantly, when you're working, when you're doing the same thing all day, you end up developing a sort of script for all the different customer interactions that you use. Would you like chocolate sprinkles? Do you need a bag? Is that everything? That script eventually becomes a trodden path that is really hard to steer out of. It also means that many places in cosmopolitan areas like Amsterdam and Berlin have started hiring people that don't even speak the local language because they don't need it anymore. They can talk to foreigners in English, and locals in those areas tend to speak English without a problem as well. Now, an increased number of foreigners who don't speak the local language doesn't necessarily mean that the local language will be diminished, but it does mean that an increased proportion of interactions, whether professional or casual, whether within foreigners or between a foreigner and a local, will take place in the foreign language, and that proportion may as well continue to rise. So imagine a Dutch person going to a cafe in a cosmopolitan area for the first time and interacting with a new barista. Neither side would be 100% sure the other one speaks the local language unless they have a very clear Dutch accent.
Right.
So to save time, because it's a busy city, they might as well default to English. So you might end up with two locals speaking a foreign language to each other.
I do think that has to be proportional to the amount of tourism that any given area gets, because otherwise the local language is going to be the one. But yeah, it's interesting that Amsterdam is going on that direction then.
It reminds me of Wales, really. When I was there, I could never tell if someone was a Welsh speaker or not unless I asked them or I knew them already. This phenomenon will likely persist and potentially expand as well. Do I think it will eventually expand to cover the entire country?
No.
Personally, no.
No, and that's why usually going to the rural areas, which I did in Japan, is an excellent way to just get completely immersed into an environment where people only speak the language you're targeting, and it does help. But you can still do it in busy cities as well. It's contextual.
Establishments in less urban areas have less of a reason to expect non-Dutch speakers to visit. But it's also not outside the realm of imagination that as people move around more, this defaultism could spread. What do you think?
I love his editing style.
Now let's get back to the start, the thing about universities. This is an area where English has basically won. Universities want to compete internationally, which means publishing more research in English, as well as attracting international talent, whether researchers or students. And for the sake of streamlining, some local students also end up studying in English. Currently, around 3 out of 10 bachelor's degrees are taught in English.
Oh no, he was still talking about an area in Holland. Cool.
That doesn't surprise you. What about the fact that 3/4 of master's programs are taught in English?
Wow.
Certain institutions, such as the Eindhoven University of Technology, either teach all of the master's courses or just all of their degrees in English.
Os ti'n dod I wneud masters, bod llawer iawn o'r myfyrwyr yn dod o lefydd eraill. Bod yna ddisgwyl bod y cwrs yn cael ei gynnal yn Saesneg. Dwi'n meddwl ar gyfer y bachelors bod rhan fwy o'r myfyrwyr yn dod o'r wlad yma.
Felly mae yna wahaniaeth mawr rhwng ddwy rad.
Dwi'n meddwl yn gyffredin o bod nhw eisiau attend.
Man, the difference to hearing someone who actually does speak the language, meaning obviously her, but even him, you can tell in the way he naturally interacts. I don't know what his level is, because I don't know anything about Dutch, so he might be a B1, he might be a B2, and he might be in the C range. I haven't got a clue. But what I am noticing is that when you compare this to those stupid, ridiculous polyglots that we often review on this channel, where you could tell he's just saying a sentence and then he hasn't got a clue what you're saying when they speak back, it's like embarrassing. So I love seeing someone who actually does. I wonder if he speaks Italian. Do you speak Italian?
Myfyrwyr o wledydd eraill, felly maen nhw'n gallu gwneud mwy o bres os ydyn nhw'n cynnal y gwrs yn Saesneg. Ac erbyn hyn, mae yna dipyn o bobl sydd yn cwyno fod yn anheg, bod nhw ddim yn cael y cyfle I astudio yn Iseldireg. Dwi'n meddwl bod rhan fwy o bobl ifanc yn derbyn y ffaith bod rhaid iddyn nhw.
Very cool. What else does he talk about? Higher education, socializing, linguistic shifts. That's what I'm interested in. So I'm going to skip these two sections because, I mean, this video must have taken a long time to put together. So please do click then. I'm not going to react to the entire thing. In order to encourage people to go and check through the link in the description, the courtesy link that I always leave in my videos, to give him the view and watch the rest. But I am interested in linguistic shift. So we're going to check this one out now.
It's precisely this fluidity that has had an effect on the Dutch language itself as well. English and Dutch are remarkably similar languages, so it's really frictionless to adopt entire words and structures into Dutch. There's a relatively high level of code mixing, ranging from discourse markers like anyway or swear words to loan words in sectors like tech, business, higher education,
He must be in linguistics.
youth slang, and advertising. You've got loans like computer, manager, meeting, deadline, upgrade, printer, liker, deleter, Googler, chiller. You could even lift entire structures and expressions from English wholesale into Dutch. There are collocations that are quickly shifting, like you're supposed to say "en beslissing nemen" to take a decision, but more and more people are saying "en beslissing maken" to make a decision. Similarly, you've got things like contact maken to make contact, as opposed to contact opnemen to take up contact, or an impact maken to make an impact, as opposed to impact hebben to have impact over someone. There are idioms that have been lifted, like in controle zijn to be in control, or dat maakt sense. And yes, they took that entire word from English in that spelling, and it only exists in this expression. You can easily borrow entire phrases and expressions like "het is een ding." So in Under of Order, there are loads of these Anglicisms because they're just so damn easy to translate. Some are accepted, others less so.
And I imagine the younger generation probably picks them up more easily, whereas probably older people don't. That's what usually happens. But fascinating video. Thank you. I enjoyed it. I might check other videos from him because that was kind of cool to watch. And if you appreciate it, give us a like, give him a like. And thank you for watching. Ciao, ciao.